Hello! Today I'm going to be doing a review of The Vespertine by Saundra Mitchell. So, The Vespertine is a young adult novel. I got this years ago because it sounded somewhat interesting because it's a historical romance novel. I mean, as much romance as they can get into in a young adult novel. We'll get into that. So, trying to adjust this. Basically, it deals with the main character, Amelia. Amelia has been sent to Baltimore to stay with a cousin. I mean, her cousin's much older than her. It's just a family cousin. They kind of use the definition cousin very loosely. It's like, however many times removed or wherever, but a distant relation lives in Baltimore, and she lives up north in Maine. And she lives with her brother, and her brother really wants Amelia to have a chance at a better life. They're not super well off in Maine, but they're not like super poor either. But they're not really part of high society, and that's kind of what his brother or her brother wants for her. And so Amelia is sent to Baltimore to stay with the cousin who is more in tune with the society there, and basically to put her out into the world and have somebody want to marry her. And she isn't very well versed in society, and that's kind of her only character trait for a while, is that she's not very well versed in society. She meets with her, I'm just gonna call her younger cousin. Just it's another cousin. It's the daughter of the cousin she is sent to stay with. And this girl's name is Zora. So it's Amelia and Zora, and they're about the same age, and they're staying in the same room together. And Zora's also a bit rebellious, and wants to have fun and do all this fun stuff. And so not a whole lot happens. They just kind of, hanging out, doing their things in Baltimore. And then Zora has a dinner party. Her mother allows her to have a dinner party basically for her friends and also other cousins. And they only have 13 people that they know that are going to be there total. So, and since 13 is a unlucky number, they need someone called a 14th, and apparently it's pretty common for people to hire a 14th for their party, which usually is an artist or someone who can rub elbows in society but isn't really part of them. And so their 14th for this dinner party is a guy named Nathaniel, and Nathaniel is an artist. And Amelia is immediately smitten with him. She goes, "Oh my God, you're so hot," and just there's something about him that she is drawn to. And he's drawn to her, and that's about as long as it takes for them to basically fall in love. Which, again, I will talk about. But anyway, at one point, Amelia is looking out the window, and it's sunset, and she starts to see a vision. And it's a vision of her cousin Zora dancing with the guy that Zora likes, a guy named Thomas. And she later mentions this to Zora, saying, "Yeah, I had this really strange vision, like a dream or something." And Zora just kind of, doesn't completely dismiss it, but she'd be like, "Yeah, that's really nice. That'd be nice if that would happen, but whatever." And it turns out to come true. And then suddenly she tells me, "Hey, try to do this again." And suddenly Amelia can start to see basically visions of the future. She looks at the sunset, and she becomes very popular among their whole group of friends there, and they keep asking for her to come, tell their future. And it's all well and good until she sees some bad stuff happening. She sees one of their friends who likes archery try to shoot an arrow, and the arrow explodes and actually takes out one of her eyes. And she sees this vision, and she tells the girl to be careful, and they think they avoid it because one of the arrows does explode, but the girl is able to avoid it. So they think, okay, so she can change the visions, they're not absolute. It turns out that that was not the time that she had seen. It was another time, and it does happen, and this girl loses her eye. And that happens, like, really close to the end of the book. But she's seeing these visions, and they seem to be coming true. She doesn't know why. And then, meanwhile, she's also pining for Nathaniel, because Nathaniel is a lower class than she is, and is technically not marriage material, but she doesn't care. And they meet up, and they kiss, and whatever, and he basically tells her, yeah, you know how you can see visions? I can fly through the wind. I can control the wind. Because apparently there are people who basically embody the elements, and she is the embodiment of fire, and he is the embodiment of wind. And apparently because she's the embodiment of fire, she can see stuff in the sunset, and that's her, like, only power. Again, it's stupid. Anyway, so she, beyond seeing the bat, like the air exploding, taking out her friend's eye, she also sees Thomas dying by the end of the summer. And Thomas is the guy that her cousin Zora likes. And she doesn't want to tell Zora, and Zora doesn't want to know. She's like, I love him no matter what, it's fine. And then, well, the girl who her eye was lost from the arrow, she killed herself by overdosing on medicine. And then this girl had a beau who loved her, and he decides to take revenge on Amelia and tries to shoot her, but Thomas pushes her out of the way, and Thomas is shot and killed. And so everyone's super sad, and it's all sad, and so Amelia goes back home to live with her brother, and it takes, and apparently Nathaniel was killed in a fire, or at least she thinks he was, and so she's just super sad up in Maine. And then at the end of the book, Nathaniel shows up and is like, oh, I'm fine. You know, let's get married and let's run off to Chicago, and that's how it ends. And it's dumb, and we're gonna get into my review of this, because this was real stupid. So I definitely had some issues with this book. Mainly that nobody was really characterized all that well. Even the main characters. Amelia is basically, oh, she's not very well versed in society, and she's kind of rebellious. That's about it. There's no other, she doesn't even have, like, a hobby or something that she really wants to do and pursue. There's nothing, you know, like, oh, she wants to be a doctor, or she wants to help orphans, or, you know, typical stuff you see in historical romance type things. There's none of that. There's no goal she really has. And I mean, that could work if she's like, I just don't know what I want, and then she discovers what she wants to do. But the only thing she discovers she wants to do is be with Nathaniel. That is her entire character, is that, you know, she wants to be with Nathaniel. And it, you know, of course she can see the visions, but then she's basically a plot device. She's barely a character. She's just a plot device for things to happen. And then Nathaniel is just, you know, ooh, he's tall, dark, and handsome, and he's mysterious, and I am attracted to him instantly, and basically love him instantly, and he loves me instantly. And they try to play it off like, oh, but they're elementals. They, you know, are the embodiment of these elements. And, you know, of course they love each other. It's a thing, and it's stupid, and I don't like it. Her cousin Zora, her younger cousin Zora, is one of the more well-characterized people in this book, and that's not even, that's not saying a lot. Zora is rebellious and all that, and she actually gets a little bit more time in the book and kind of develop what she's like and all that. She's basically just another teenage girl. But you can understand her character better. You even have the girl, her name is Sarah. She's the one who gets blinded and eventually kills herself. She's interesting. You know, she's a society woman, or society teenager, but also likes, you know, archery and likes to do this different stuff. You also find out she totally had sex out of wedlock, and that's a big no-no. As much, I mean, it is super innuendo. You would have to know exactly what they're talking about. Like, otherwise you're not going to know what they're talking about. But, Yeah, so Amelia, the main character, is just not well characterized. And then, of course, the romance is just stupid. It's not even a romance. It's like definitely like the teenage version of, ooh, you're hot, now I love you. Like, I guess maybe that's realistic about it, but it's stupid. I don't like it. There's none of them, like, doing different things and them seeing another side of this person and falling in love with that or whatever. No, there's none of that. They just love each other. What else? What else is stupid? So their powers are not very well defined. And you would think if they embody something, they would be able to do something more than just the one thing that they can do. Like, it seems like Nathaniel actually has the ability to control the wind and to fly and all that sort of stuff. They kind of explored a teensy bit, but not nearly enough for me to be satisfied. Like, oh, what are their powers? What's going on? And then Amelia, her only power that they show, and it may be her only power, is that she can see visions in the sunset. She's the embodiment of fire. Maybe they should have, like, a fire, like, I don't know, a fireplace, like, flaring around her, or her creating sparks when she's mad or something. I don't know. That doesn't happen. It's barely a thing. And it's really just a plot device, and it's really stupid. And the book is also very depressing. Like, a lot of people die. Well, a lot, like two or three people. But it's depressing. It's super depressing even to the end. She even has a vision. So she's staying with her brother and his brother's wife. She even has a vision of them having a miscarriage. And it's like, that's so depressing. Like, what? It's supposed to be like, ooh, it's a historical romance in like a gothic style, and it's supposed to be depressing. And like, no, it's stupid. Don't do it. It's depressing. And why? And yeah, they find out that Nathaniel's alive at the end, and they're go off and do their happily ever after or whatever the heck. But it's so dumb. Oh my god. I think the only good thing I can say about this is that it's not very long. Let's see. It's 293 pages. 293 pages. And you gotta see, like, this is super big print. So this took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to read total. It's not hard to read, but boy, is it dumb. And there's actually a sequel. There's 2 sequels to this. And they're not really marketed as sequels. They're marketed as companions. But they're sequels. And so if you don't read the first one, you're going to have a problem with the other 2. I didn't read the other 2. I just looked on Goodreads, and people are complaining that, hey, this said companion, not sequel. But it is a sequel. So in the second one, it actually, the main character is Zora, or her cousin Zora. Because Zora was in love with Thomas, and Thomas got shot and died. So she's very sad, and she goes and to spend the summer or spend time with her aunt in Oklahoma or something, and she discovers she has the power to sense water, so she's like the water elemental person. So that's a thing. Apparently it's the highest rated of the 3. The middle book is the highest rated of the 3. I don't know if it's good or not. Apparently it's got the same issues as this one. And then the third one is called The Elementals, and I believe it deals with the child of Amelia and Nathaniel and the child of Zora and whoever she winds up getting together with. And the book is divided into basically 2 POVs between these 2 people, and they only meet for like the last 20 to 30 pages, and it's really rushed and it's really stupid. And so this is not a series I would say would get better, not with those reviews and with, you know, kind of seeing the same similarities. So I don't know what her other books are like, but I can't speak to all of them, but the way she writes, at least this one and probably the other 2, I wouldn't expect a whole lot. Her characters are not characterized well. They have characteristics to serve the plot, and that's it. They don't really have their own desires beyond, ooh, you're hot, and that's about it. So, I would totally not recommend this. This is stupid. Oh yeah, I hope you enjoyed my review of the Vespertine. This was kind of a nothing book. I read it for the last October review because it talks about dark portents and visions and prophecies and things, and I think, ooh, maybe it's spooky. And also I kind of wanted something that was slightly easier to read for the last one, because I was busy this last week, the whole thing. But it wasn't really spooky. It was just kind of depressing. I also was lazy too, and this is my costume. I have my Viking beard hat, and I have my Halloween costume. I wouldn't say that this was necessarily... This is only lazy in the fact that I had made it 2 years ago, and I'm just wearing it. It was not easy to make. I did make this, but I made it 2 years ago, so that wasn't supposed to be a Halloween costume. It's just supposed to keep my face warm. It does a really good job of keeping my face warm, and I really hope that I'm not muffled on the audio, because I'm going to have to refilm this whole thing. But, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed these October costume reviews, the book reviews in general. I will, of course, be doing more book reviews. Getting into November, December, I will still be reading books, but there may not be book reviews every week, or videos every week. I'm going to attempt to make sure that there are, but because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, I get really busy on those 2 weeks, and so I might not have enough filmed ahead of time. I only have like 1 week in advance of videos, so I might not have videos on those weeks, but I will still update you on Twitter. So if you want to make sure that I'm still reading books or see what I am reading, you can, of course, check out the hashtag #OneYearOfBooks and find me on Twitter at author M.E. Kennedy. And, keep up on what I'm reading, what I'm doing, random stuff. I post a lot of pictures of my animals and the silly things they do, and also just random crap that happens to me. But yeah, so... Thank you for watching, and I really hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you next week. Bye!